And that has been our tradition for nearly 300 years. Now thrown out by a president in a memo after 6 o'clock Eastern time and written in such a way that it is barely understandable. It leaves us with no choice that when a president takes unconstitutional action of this nature, to act and to act quickly. Every American, every Rhode Islander is impacted by this. If you drive on a road, you're impacted. If you get health care, you're impacted. If your children are being educated in our schools, you're impacted. If you believe in public safety, if you're a man or a woman in blue, and all of us who are protected by them, you are impacted by this blatant. Congress has committed this money to the states. Our states are relying on this money to serve our residents. And so this action was necessary and it needed to happen quickly. And I'm so grateful for the great work of the men and women in our offices across the country that worked so hard to get this done so quickly. And so with that, I will turn it over to my friend and colleague, Attorney General James.
Thank you so much. My office and the attorney generals who are gathered here and those who are not, we are preparing to defend our Constitution. This president has exceeded his authority. He has violated the Constitution, and he has trampled on the co-equal branch of government. It's really critically important that we stand up and defend the rights and liberties of all Americans. And at this point in time, we will take some questions.
Thank you, Attorney General. Our Kevin Rector. And just a reminder, please pose the question to a specific Attorney General. Thank you. Kevin?
Hi, my question is for California Attorney General Bonta. I'm wondering if you can speak to two things, one being whether you believe disaster relief, including for the California fires, will be impacted here. And secondly, whether you can speak to whether you believe the confusion around the order is part of the process, part of the intent of this administration.
I'll answer your first question first. I do believe that the FEMA funding is at risk, and we need it. We need it now. We needed it yesterday and without conditions. And it's unfortunate that it's being put at risk, not just from potential conditions being imposed by the president, but also by this memo. So yes, we believe the FEMA funding is put at risk. Two, I think that the ambiguity, the lack of precision is by design. And they could have been very precise about what was included and what was not, what programs, what services. They could have enumerated them and set them forth in specific detail, but they decided to be vague and to use buzzwords like wokeism and Green New Deal social engineering. And that confusion, that chilling effect has swept in potentially nearly all of the services and programs that the federal government funds outside of what was specifically exempted, which was Social Security and Medicare. So I do think the ambiguity and the confusion is deliberate and intentional, unfortunately.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Katie Sobko.
Mr. Attorney General Kraken, regarding this lawsuit and the one from last week, is there any concern about setting a precedent that will enable the Trump administration to expand powers of the executive branch, given the current makeup of the Supreme Court?
Look, we're prepared to stand up for the rule of law, and I'm confident that the federal courts will agree with us. When you have such blatant violations of the rule of law, in the case we filed last week, federal judge said it was the most ridiculous argument put forth by the government in 40 years of federal service. We're not talking about nibbling at the Constitution, throwing duly enacted statutes out the window simply because the president of this country doesn't like it. That's not permissible under our legal system. Presidents have power and speak on their behalf, and that is what we're doing, and I'm confident that we will be successful in that effort.
Thank you. Our final question comes from Mike.
Sorry, how to unmute myself. This is for Attorney General James, but also for all of the AGs if they want to weigh in. Kind of piggybacking on that last question, you know, everyone's resources are limited. How do you go about strategizing which of the flurry of activity is something you're going to go after, right? We had birthright citizenship, we have OMB this week. Who knows what's next? And then if I could get your response to the criticism that Trump over the years has had, that these are Democratic attorney generals, these are adversaries, these are people that don't like him that are taking these actions. I just wanted to get your take on both those things.
First, this is not a question of being adversarial. This is a question of the Constitution and the rule of law. And all of us took an oath to obey the Constitution and uphold it. Clearly, his actions are arbitrary and capricious. His actions violate the Constitution, the separation of powers. He fails to respect a co-equal branch of government. He exceeded his authority. It's important that individuals understand that what we are doing is protecting democracy and the rule of law. My office and the offices that are here, that are represented here today, have some of the best legal minds in this nation. And we, again, have all indicated that we are prepared to work with this administration. But when it comes to a clear violation of the law, we will not be silent. We will not sit idly by and allow individuals to trespass on the rights of Americans. We prepared for this moment. And just as we did during the first administration, we won 80% of our cases, and we are prepared to do it again.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day.